Hello and welcome to the Edmonton Oilers edition of the Canadian NHL Prospect Pools.
Yeah.
Edmonton is, I believe, ranked second amongst Canadian teams, if I'm not mistaken, and at 15th overall, which isn't great, but it's not terrible. Sorry, third overall behind Ottawa and Montreal.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it's not great, but also we also saw Calgary being ranked 23rd. It was unbelievably low.
From what we've seen.
Yeah, I believe Edmonton being ranked 15th is pretty low as well, if we're going to be honest. Because the website still has Broberg. Sorry, the website still has Bouchard as a prospect, and Bouchard is no longer a prospect. He's playing in the NHL. So
Roberg too, but he just got called up, so it doesn't count.
So
He didn't make the opening lineup.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. You did not.
Except for Bouchard.
Bouchard did, yes. So looking at our prospect pool, like first off, you have AHL stats in front of you. So how's the AHL team doing right now?
Bakersfield is 500, 6-1.
Okay.
So doing not too good, but I'm guessing probably because most of our prospects were called up.
Yeah.
So
like the Ryan Mccloud, their top center is up here. Their top two defensemen their top two left defensemen, in Bruhlberg and Lagesson are up here. Their top goalie is here in Skinner. Yeah, 6-1. The fact that they're still and Benson's up here too. Benson should have been down there as well. They didn't send him down to the minors. They'll be in fears of getting picked up in waivers. That's why they didn't drop him. But
weird. Okay.
Yeah, like the prospect pool. So like we're considering the recent graduates, I'll say Benson's probably a graduate now. He's an NHLer. And Bouchard, I believe, is now a full time. I take it back on Benson. I think Benson's still somewhat. He hasn't proven anything here. Mccloud, I still think is a prospect because I think he's up here. He's showing well some games, but I don't think he's like a bona fide top 12. Like if all of our players are healthy, do we think Mccloud cracks the lineup? And I don't know if he does necessarily quite yet. Not this year. Potentially future years, yeah, but not this year. I don't think. Yeah. But looking at we have a couple high end prospects. So Dylan Holloway, in my opinion, is our best prospect available at the moment. I would agree. He is projected to be a top 6 forward for sure. A big body, power forward kind of player that can put up some points. He's putting up a good amount of points in the NCAA right now, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's playing for the Wisconsin.
He still injured, though?
No, because he's not in the NCAA anymore. Because he's going to be in the AHL when he's not injured anymore. He broke his wrist, and then he had surgery again. He didn't play anything in the. Yeah. Holloway is probably our best prospect, though. I project him to be a top 6 forward. I project him to be an incredibly good complementary guy to a McDavid or a Draisaitl. Also, you're playing with McDavid or Draisaitl, you're going to put up points.
Yeah, right. But like last year at least, he got 35 points in 23 games playing for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And then the year before that, he had a decent year, 17 points in 35. But like last year for sure, like that. I guess I would say like since he got drafted, he kind of just like went crazy and like played really well. Just to probably like prove that he can crack the lineup kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now he's injured, but once he comes back, he'll most likely just go down to Bakersfield and then.
I would hope. I think Holloway should definitely start in Bakersfield, and
especially just coming back from the injury.
Yeah, but I think this is good for his development. He doesn't need to be up here right now. He doesn't.
No.
Having a new outperforming performing him up here. Sorry,
yeah.
But then
Fogel's playing really well. Like every like the third line is playing really well.
Yeah,
and then like you don't want Holloway to be fourth line, so I would say I just go.
I would honestly even put Holloway could be a third line checking winger, a really good third line winger that can provide the offense we need on the third line. I'm very high on Dylan Holloway. I'll be completely honest. I'm very high on Dylan Holloway, and I think that Dylan Holloway will be a legitimate top 9 forward for sure.
Oh, definitely.
No question. Yeah. I honestly think he's a good top 6 forward. And could you imagine, like, if Holloway does end up becoming that good, like Nuge moving down to the third line center role?
Oh man, if you have Nuge and Holloway.
Well, that's the thing though. Like, think about this let's get to the future lines in a second, actually, because like. I have some ideas of how this thing can go, and it can go really damn well. Like, let's not even kid ourselves. So then, next, probably the next best prospect we have is Phillip Broberg, a high draft pick from a few years back. People were like, "Man, this guy's getting drafted way too early, like way too high." And Edmonton fans, how we can be out here. Sorry, not all of us. Like, I don't want to group myself with these minority jerks. Yeah,
the vocal minority.
Like vocal minority. Yeah, they're ripping on Holland for signing him, man. But this is Phillip Broberg is one of Holland's first draft picks that he picked that is now playing in the NHL. Unbelievably tiny window of 3 games. Like, don't even I'm not going to pretend as if this is going to be forever, but he's in an unreal 3 games.
4 games actually.
4 games, but he's playing like 20 plus minutes a game.
Yeah.
I think he is the future of the second pairing. I think Nurse is the number 1 guy for the next 4 or 5 years, but Broberg will be a second pairing guy and then take over for Nurse. Right? But I mean, Nurse's contract is going to be tough, but that's like 5 years from now problem, because I think Nurse is elite for the next 5 years at least.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then maybe even more depending on how he takes care of his body. Like, athletes are getting better for longer now. Anyways, so Bruhlberg is a very smooth skating defenseman, more offensively minded, but playing good defensive hockey too. Like, he's a solid 2-way forward. He's not going to be leading our power play, but he will be a good guy to put on defense. For the penalty kill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's a guy who moves the puck, and it's exactly what we need in a team that has so many good skaters. You need Bruhlberg on there, and I think he's going to be a very good. I think of all the defensive prospects that the Canadian teams have, I guess this might seem biased, but I do think he's the best defensive prospect of all the Canadian teams that we currently have at the moment. I'm not saying overall prospect. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying defensive prospect.
No, I know.
I think he has the highest ceiling.
Yeah.
And the only reason he's not projecting to be the first pairing guy is because of how good Nurse has been the last little bit. And defensemen take a long time to develop. So I do think Bruhlberg is a very, very good, and he had a horrific season last year. And like the year prior, he was like, but he wasn't playing big minutes. But now in Bakersfield, he was playing massive minutes. Here he's playing big minutes too on a good Oilers team, right?
Yeah.
So, and then next, Hockey Writers has Ryan Mccloud as our 4th best prospect. I don't necessarily disagree with that. At the beginning of the year, I would wholeheartedly agree with that completely. Now it's like, man, some of our like late round picks are just being stupidly good offensively. Like, I'm gonna list 3 names, because you have the website in front of you. Yeah. I want you to find what their stats are for their teams right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Xavier Bourgault,
33 points in 20 games for the Shawinigan Cataracts.
He's playing insane. I mean, that's the juniors. Okay, so that doesn't necessarily translate necessarily.
But still,
however, but a thing with him, he's not only great offensively, he is known to have very smooth skating and very good defensive play as well. And that would be perfect for a 3rd line winger. He's not a huge guy, though. I think he's like 5'10", 5'11"? Or am I going crazy?
I think you're going crazy. He's 6 feet.
Oh, 6 feet. Okay. So
close.
I was close, actually. Yeah, but he's not like a big, like 200 plus pound kind of guy. Like, he's going to be
172 pounds, I think.
Yeah. So I think, I'm not sure if he shoots left or right, but ideally, if he could be a right winger, that'd be huge, because we need a second pairing or second line right winger, because you got Yessi but again, you need those young contracts to come up, because this year we have Yessi and Yamo going to becoming RFAs again, and that's going to be tough.
And out of the 2, you're going to have to keep Jesse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Yamo might not become an Oiler from...
No.
Might not be an Oiler from much
He might
longer.
be expendable for the deadline, maybe.
But, anyways, Ryan Mccloud is listed as a 4th best prospect here, and I'm okay with it. He's a fast skater. He has some offensive talent and ability. He's been decent on the face-off spot.
Mm-hmm.
Here, and he would be a very good addition to the bottom 6. He just needs to wrap up his defensive game. In my opinion, just be better, more intelligent defensively. My biggest surprise of the entire season so far has nowhere close. It's been Stuart Skinner.
Oh yeah,
he's again super small sample size, and I was the first to say, hey, small, just 5 or 6 games. Like, don't exaggerate this right now. Like, I think And I said it when at the draft, when we passed on that Wallstrat kid, oh man, my dad was furious. He was so mad. He's like, oh, how the heck did Holland do this? Like, how did that happen? And like a bunch of Oilers fans too. Like he was like, well, how the heck?
Me.
Yeah, well, you
Honestly,
were pissed too.
I was pissed too.
So many people were livid. At the beginning, I'm like, why did he? And now I'm like, he saw something in Skinner. There's zero doubt in my mind that Holland saw something in Skinner that he thought Skinner is the number one goalie in the future in the NHL. Mm-hmm. And looking at how he's played right now, his poise, his reflexes are really good, and he's just proving to be where he needs to be. And
especially with like especially the last few games where the Oilers defense wasn't that good.
Yeah,
he kept them in the games.
Yeah, oh yeah, the Oilers defensively in front of him have been horrific, and he's kept him in every game he's played so far. 100% agree. Yeah, he's a good goalie.
Oh yeah,
he's going to be a good goalie. I don't know. I don't think he'll be a superstar by any means. I do think he'll be like maybe a little bit better than Talbot, like a potential number one as long as he's not playing 70 games in a year.
I was gonna say he's definitely has starter potential. I would say kind of like a Kemper maybe. Like he's.
I like that. I do like that.
He's not like elite like Vasilevsky and all those guys.
Yeah,
he's kind of like
I
Kemper,
really like that. Like the second tier of goalies
kind of thing.
Yeah, because he can win you games. He's proven it to you. He can win you games. He'll have an off. He hasn't had an off game yet here. Knocking on wood as we speak, obviously, but he's not necessarily going to like single-handedly win, but he's not going to lose it for you either, right? But he'll have big games that he can pop. I think career statistics.
Basically, he'll be like a consistent
I think he'll be a 9
goalie as long as the defense plays well.
He'll be 915, 920 save percentage kind of goalie. Maybe 910 to 920 around there.
950, that's
915.
Oh, 15. Okay, I was like 950. That's crazy.
Well, 915 is what 15, I think he would be around there. That's what's a good goalie.
Yeah, that's still a good goalie.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think maybe his style of game and all that stuff isn't like Kemper. But I do think that he would be. He has potential to be a starter, and I completely understand why we passed up on Wallstrat, because we did not have many good offensively gifted forwards in our prospect pool, and now with the Bourgault signing, I take Bourgault over Wallstrat any day of the week. With an extra 3rd round pick, which we ended up taking a 4th round, I think actually, which we took a good player in there too, and then. We have Rafael Lavoie, who hasn't come up yet, but he's a big right shot guy. That's perfect for what we would need in the bottom 6 as well. So we have 2 top 6 and 2 good bottom 6 forwards coming up in the minors that I'm really happy with. Tyler Benson has been underwhelming in the NHL level. I think he hasn't found his niche yet and figured out what it's going to take for him to get a regular spot in the NHL. He's an offensively gifted guy, but I don't think he's not going to get that chance on Edmonton. He's not going to outplay Nuge or Hyman for a top 6 role on the left wing. So he needs to figure out a way of becoming an NHL player without, being in the top line, which I want him here because he's an Edmonton kid, and I like Tyler Benson because he's proven throughout his career that he can be a really good offensive threat. But I see him being an expendable piece of the deadline to trade for someone.
Yeah, now that we could be considered as buyers, it's just kind of tough to see all our prospects that we've seen throughout the years. Become expendable.
It's nice to see though that we have the Bensons to be expendable, that we'll still have a very deep prospect, but we can potentially not trade a single one of our top 8 prospects, and we're still giving a good prospect away, because I haven't even mentioned Carter Savoy or Dmitry Samorukov or William Lagesson. I haven't mentioned any of them yet, right? Our left side of the D is set, I think. Genuinely, it's set for years to come with Bruhlberg, Lagesson, Samorukov, that number 7 kind of guy. Actually, I think Lagesson would be the 7 guy. Samorukov would be a bottom pairing. And then I think the Oilers' biggest weakness is the right side of the defense as prospect. We don't have anybody on that right. Nia Malin, but he's not projected to be much of a player. So if obviously again, don't draft positional. Maybe like this best right shot defenseman available is like a 3rd round pick. Don't draft in the 1st round. But I think that's somewhere where they're gonna have to either. That's just one little position like that isn't the end of the world though, right? Because I think knocking on wood, obviously the Oilers are pretty set for centers for a long time. Because especially like if Holloway does end up playing there and Nuge moves down to the third line center, like that's huge because he's a defensively gifted or defensively minded guy. Or even like Rafael Lavoie playing in that 3rd pairing. So like I'm looking the Oilers of the future. I see a couple of the guys getting traded. Okay, I see Tyler Benson, I believe, will be gone. I think Rafael Lavoie does not leave because he's one of the very few right shot forwards that we have. And he's a big guy he's like perfect for our 3rd line in the future. So I don't see Rafael Lavoie getting traded. But like the Tyler Bensons of the world, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Conor Valov could be gone. Well, he's got like a super low value right now. He's not doing well in the minors, but I think he's getting adjusted to the North American game. I can see next year him getting adjusted somewhat because he had good showing in the KHL last year, like 920 plus save percentage, I think. Yeah. So I think 15's a little low, especially because like we didn't even like Carter Savoie you mentioned. We didn't even mention that Petrov kid.
No,
how's he doing in the OHL?
Really well. He has 33 points in 22 games, 16 goals.
Yeah. He's a 1.5 point per game player. Yeah. Yeah. And like in juniors, that's good. That's a very high offensive. And he's a big dude as well, if I'm not mistaken. So even
another prospect, Tyler Tulio.
Tulio, yeah. I completely forgot about that kid.
18.
Yeah. He's playing unreal too.
Unreal.
So I think we have like 4 or 5 good pieces that probably wouldn't make this roster. Like, I'm sorry, you're not taking away Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl from this team anytime soon. Like, no prospect that we can get are ever going to outperform McDavid or Draisaitl, right?
And we're obviously going to pay them like whatever they want.
Yeah, to stay.
Yeah, is up.
Well, let's not. That scares me. So let's not even talk about that. It scares me too much. But
if they want to win, they'll get.
Yeah, they'll find a way. But 15th, I guess, like comparing to the other teams, but the glaring weakness for me is the right side. Even now, even like active NHL team, that's my glaring weakness. If we have a single injury on that right side, there's nothing that we have available right now. No. So find a way of like maybe trade from some of our forwards away for like a right shot D. And you know what? I'm like thinking about it right now. Oh, Ethan Bear. We had Ethan Bear. Okay. Ethan Bear and Evan Bouchard. Ethan Bear's a hell of a player. Love him. Love Ethan Bear. I wish him nothing but the best in the future. And I want him to succeed because he's an incredible story and incredible human being.
Yeah.
But if you're going to tell me hockey-wise, either Ethan Bear or Evan Bouchard, because that's what it was. Let's not even kid ourselves. That's what it was. We had to pick between Bear or Bouchard. Yeah, I'm picking Bouchard. Bouchard has a higher ceiling. Right? Bear's probably better defensively than Bouchard, but that's something that Bouchard can develop, and he's currently developing at this moment. Now, if it was Bear, yeah, I'm taking Bear. Right? So that was probably it, but you're not getting Fogle without trading away Bear, right? So it's the Edmonton prospect pool. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think for me right now it looks better than Montreal's. Montreal's like 9th. Or whatever the heck they were. The Edmonton prospect pool looks good, man. Like, Calgary and Edmonton are going to have some heated battles in the future, hey? Like, that's pretty insane. Calgary's prospects are a little further along than ours because they're all in the AHL right now. Most of ours are in the juniors. But, like, that's going to be some heated battles, you know what I mean? Like, but we at least have some defensive prospects, you know? They probably have the better goalie prospect. At this current moment, like just the numbers that they're presenting right now, they probably do. But like Skinner's proven to do good right now so far in the NHL level.
Yep.
And then defensive prospects, no, hands down, Edmonton has better defensive prospects. No question. It's not even close. Forward prospects, that's where it gets tough.
Yes.
That's where it gets tough. Because I think they have more like offensive-minded, like more numbers of those guys. But I think we have like I think Holloway is the best forward prospect of both groups. But then I think Calgary has like the second to fifth best kind of like just at this moment, right? Just the numbers that they're putting up in Stockton too. But this will be an interesting. This Battle of Alberta for future years is going to be absolutely outstanding.
It's going to be fun.
Outstanding. Oh, God, I'm so excited for this Battle of Alberta. I hope we see a Battle of Alberta in the playoffs.
That would just be crazy.
Yeah. Oilers have to win, obviously, or I'm going to be crying. But it will be incredible to see. Because Calgary's going to be a good team for years to come.
And especially since it's Edmonton and Calgary, like, just the fan base is just Edmonton going to Calgary, Calgary coming to Edmonton.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be incredible, man.
Gonna be fun.
It's going to be sweet. It's going to be sweet.
That's if we face them.
Yeah, I mean, I think these two are going to be Pacific Division powerhouses for years to come.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It'll be Edmonton, Calgary, and Vegas for long time.
Yeah.
It's the parity in this Pacific Division is going to be pretty nuts because like Vancouver should be up here, but they're playing like garbage for whatever reason. But it will be interesting, and then we're going to touch base on the Vancouver system in this in a future episode as well because they're not very good. Let's not even kid ourselves. But
no.
Anyway, I believe that's everything for the episode today.
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect. Yep. Thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you later.